Hey guys, Rachel Young here, and I am so excited because I'm here with Dave Boon Benton of 13 Hours. He was actually the real Boon who inspired the gentleman on the movie. And Dave, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Do I call you Dave or do I call you Boon?
It's up to you.
Okay. So when I was watching the movie, you were reading a book, and there was a quote in it from Joseph Campbell.
Power of Myth, yes.
Yes. And it was all the gods. Help me out.
All the heavens, all the hells are within you.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that towards the end of the movie that Roan mentioned.
Yes.
What does that mean for you?
For me personally, it's just me struggling with my own identity as far as how I see religion, my spirituality. I don't know if you're familiar with like Joseph Campbell or where it really comes from. I'm not as smart as I look. Really, I got to reading Joseph Campbell just because George Lucas was his student, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. So that's how I actually got into Joseph Campbell. Then once I started reading it, a lot of it resonated with me.
Wow. What takes you from being active as the consultant and everything overseas? What do you do when you're here? I mean, did you move into the firearms industry when you were here, or what?
No, we've myself and Tanto, not together but separately. We've actually been instructors since 1994 in the military, in law enforcement, privately. So BattleLine isn't something that's new. We've been teaching for several years. BattleLine came about recently. Right after that incident, myself and Tanto, we didn't quit. We went right back to work. So we came home, then we went back overseas. And we did that for a few years.
Well, now, let me ask you this, because my husband's a Marine, and he served, a lot of his time was Mogadishu, Bosnia, those conflicts. And he said when he came back, the civilian uniform just doesn't fit.
Right.
Did you find that to be true as well?
Yes, there's a transition period. But for me, once I left the military, I went into law enforcement. And I went through that same thing. Yeah, it's culture shock, where there's a transition period, absolutely. Yeah. Took me about a year to get used to it.
So for those that are on active duty that come back, that are reintegrating into civilian life, into the civilian workforce, working with civilians that they may not normally have interacted with, what would you tell them to help them with that transition? I
tell them to look at it from their perspective, look at it from a different optic, and be extremely patient and understanding. Because the standards are different. The expectations are different, absolutely.
I can remember when my husband and I first started dating, he was fresh out of the Marine Corps, and he would come in the mornings to pick me up and ask me why I was still asleep. And I was like, I set the alarm, but I hit the snooze, and he was like, snooze?
Right.
Snooze, why would you, So, yeah.
Alarm goes off, you get up.
Yeah.
Right.
That's if you don't get up before it goes off.
Right.
So, when someone signs up for classes with BattleLine, what do they expect, and what do you expect from them?
What they expect, I'm not sure, because we really have a disparity of who shows up. Like we might have, and we've had this, a 60-year-old grandmother on one side of the line, and then a 20-year veteran SWAT cop on the other side of the line. So there is a disparity. So what they're expecting, I'm not sure. What we expect, we just expect them to show up with a learning attitude, open mind, and we'll have fun. But we will be safe.
Yeah, I follow you both on social media, and I've seen some of the pictures, and how do you keep him in line?
It's hard. It's hard.
So you guys have some class coming up on Monday, actually,
we
that
do.
I have been
Yes.
invited to observe and kind of watch you guys in action. What's that class going to be like?
Now that's a combative pistol and carbine course, and there's prereqs for that course. So the students that are coming are not new students. They've had other training, but that course will be a lot of weapons retention, gun grappling, small unit tactics, structure clearing, and then some vehicle work. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. So where do you see BattleLine going moving forward?
We'll just continue to teach and reach as many people as we can.
So for the guys who are watching, and maybe they've just come back from deployment, or they're trying to figure out how to take what they've learned and use it in the civilian world. Obviously, they're not gonna go out and start their own company like this. But what would you tell them if they're looking to take advantage of what they've learned?
That's tough. Because you learn so much more just serving in the military than firearms. And everyone thinks, oh, you wear camouflage, you're a gun guy. And that's not necessarily the truth. I mean, they bring a lot to the civilian sector. So it really depends on what they're interested in and how they want to share that, But it doesn't have to be firearms. It can be leadership, it can be fitness. It's just too broad. That's a tough question, so.
And you gave the answer, actually. I secretly was kind of hoping you were going to give it.
Excellent.
So that works. One final question. At one point in the movie, Jack says, "Why can't I just go home and stay home?" And that really resonated with me because
right.
I'm an FFL SOT, and so a lot of our
Excellent.
customers are veterans.
Right.
And I see this over and over and over again. How did you make it work? What did you know that so many others have struggled with? I mean, you hear about the 22 a day, as far as veteran suicides. What did you do to make it work that you can pass along to them?
I'll have to answer that in two different ways. One, like, why can't I stay home? It's because we have this drive in us to go and serve, whether it's in the military, it's contracting or it's law enforcement, or it's just spreading knowledge and teaching, So that drive is in a lot of people, it's just how do you deal with that? You don't have to go overseas to feel that drive. You can do it here, but it's extremely difficult to see what's going on in the world and not want to be there and not want to help. As far as like dealing with things that happen, you need a good support system. You need an understanding of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and believing in it, and then you need to be able to deal with what happens and have the family support, have the community support, and have some type of release. And that's what a lot of it is. How do I deal with it? Some people need to talk. Other people like him, they just need to go to the gym. Depends on what your release is, but you need to find something. You can't keep it bottled in.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to sign up for classes, where do they go?
Several places. They can check the BattleLine Instagram page,
okay.
Or they can check Tanto's personal page, the KPI page, and it'll have all the information on there.
Fantastic. Well, on behalf of Dave Boon Benton, I'm Rachel Young. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.